Great. Well, thanks for having me. First of all, I would like to say that it's always great to be back in Rotterdam. Whenever I drive over the Maas Boulevard, my heart makes a little jump. And I left the city 10 years ago, and ever since it became a much more vibrant city than when I left. Secondly, I have to say that I didn't get a whole lot of sleep last night because I was watching the elections, and although the outcome wasn't too bad for us, but what I noticed was that there was a little emphasis on technology and innovation. And that struck me because I know that technology and innovation is alive and kicking, and you guys are working on that literally day and night. And that's also the reason why I'm able to stand here and do my job, and why it's quite easy nowadays for funds like HPE to raise capital, because there are so many great startups and scale-ups out there. And it was actually quite different in early 2009 when HPE was still a startup. By the time there wasn't a lot of liquidity in the market for scale-ups. Bank financing dried up completely for firms that didn't have any assets. Government-backed initiatives weren't that rich at the time, and the more successful growth equity providers moved up to the right to the bigger ticket sizes. So although there was a clear funding gap, let's say between 5 and 20 million at the time, it took HPE almost 2 years to raise our first fund, which is a 160 million fund. And like most startups, we made a lot of mistakes since then. We invested too early, paid too much, backed crazy founders, thought we could help out where we actually couldn't do a thing. And but we learned from our mistakes, like most startups, and that's what made us to what we are today. So what is HPE today? Today, we're a team of 15 people. We have very diverse backgrounds, people from Czech, from Germany, from Belgium. 2 of our founding partners have lived and worked and as operators, entrepreneurs, and tech investors on the West Coast for decades, and they came back to the Netherlands with their experience. We have offices in Amsterdam and in Düsseldorf, and we'll be opening our office in San Francisco later this year. We're investing out of a 200 million fund at the moment. Ticket sizes are between 8 and 30 million, and the segments that we're looking at are actually quite diverse. So we would also invest in industrial high-tech, hardware, and software companies. And I think the reason that we're so broad in our focus is because the ticket sizes are actually quite big, so we can't be too picky on that side. What else can I tell you about HPE? What are we looking for? We're looking for scalable business models, proven technologies, and most of all, passionate founders. And those 3 components will make it into tomorrow's market leaders that we're absolutely ready to back. So what can HPE bring to the table for you as an entrepreneur? I think there are actually 3 things. Let me start with what we are not, because that's also quite important. We're not going to help you find your product market fit. We typically invest in Series B, C, and onwards. And where we do like to help out is with our international network, with helping scaling the business, finding key talent, and then ultimately also position the business for an exit, because we're the latest step in the process. How much time do I have left?
About a minute and a half.
Okay, that's great. Well, then I can even give an example of how we do that. So for one of our last investments, that's a company called eGym in Munich. It's a crossover investment between hardware and software. Even before we invested, we found their head of US, which increased their speed to market, enhanced their time to market in the US by over a year. And that guy was coming from the biggest competitor. And I think that's also what ultimately helped us to get into that transaction, because it was quite competitive. And furthermore, through our US partners who now live here, we try to provide that Atlantic bridge to our portfolio companies. Also, for I think 80% of our investments, we help recruit a more strategic CFO or a more experienced COO that can really help grow the organization from 50 people to almost 400 people, and then ultimately prepared for an exit. I think that's HPE in a nutshell. Thank you so much for listening, and I hope to see you afterwards.